the Metropolitan Revolution depends on three key elements. The first is creating a network. That's people who take ownership and responsibility for economic and social progress. Unlike national governments, and even local governments all too often, which tend to operate in silos, metropolitan areas are networks of leaders working together. In some places, it's a mayor or a governor that convenes a metropolitan network, but that's not always the case. As the example of Northeast Ohio, and even, or especially Detroit shows, others can step in. Business groups, CEOs, or leaders of universities and civic groups and philanthropies. It's very important to understand that metropolitan areas' power comes from the fact that they are not only governments. Government is an important actor, but it's not the only actor in turning around an economy and in linking a metropolitan area. Now, I want to look at all of these steps through the lens of innovation districts, because I think that's especially appropriate for the audience here, since it links economic activity with the kind of careful placemaking and respect for the power of heritage, walkability, and density that you've all demonstrated in Providence. So if you look at how innovation districts take shape, there are several models of networks that are behind successful districts. There's the model of RTP, Research Triangle Park, where you have one entity that's really running the show, and other places are kind of contributing to an atmosphere there, but it's RTP that is making the decisions about how things will grow and develop. You can see a looser model in Philadelphia with the University Science Center. There are a lot of institutions, specifically Drexel and the University of Pennsylvania, that are heavily invested in the University Science Center. This is not the only thing that they're doing, but University Science Center is where they come together and make shared investments. In Detroit, you have an even looser confederation of institutions that are pursuing independent goals without explicitly shared institutions or spaces, but with a shared commitment to re-energizing Detroit and getting their nascent innovation district off the ground. Whatever form this network takes, it has to be charged with big picture thinking and an almost micromanagement approach to details. It has to be able to gather actors for discussion and clarifying what their self-interest is and inspiring a shared vision. And the shared vision is actually the second element of what it takes to start a metropolitan revolution. This vision has to be rooted in sound economic thinking and local data and evidence. Every metropolitan area has a special advantage or unique offer. And this is something that Aaron Wren, who's the author of the excellent blog Urbanophile and a new ebook, talks about over and over and over again, I think until people will finally get the message. They have to understand that Detroit is different from Denver, Pittsburgh is different from Phoenix, and if you try to be the next anything, you are likely to fail. We often refer to that neglected urban economic thinker, Dolly Parton, who once said, we think, the secret to success is to find out who you are and to do it on purpose. Research, data, thinking will help you understand who you are. And what you have to do is build on that vision, right? What will make you the place that people have to be in 10 or 20 years to start their business and realize their dream? Why will they come to Providence as opposed to Pittsburgh or Indianapolis or Boston or Hartford? When we think about innovation districts, this idea of vision has to take account of three kinds of assets: economic, network, and physical. Economic assets include obvious factors like anchor institutions, accelerators, companies, entrepreneurs, fabrication labs, but also coffee shops, grocery stores, neighborhood serving retail, restaurants, schools, and workforce training. Network assets include brainstorming events, broadband, cultural events, idea generation in shared spaces, mashups, meetups, networking events, social media, coffee bars, restaurants, and social mixers. This networking element is so easy to overlook because it seems soft. It even seems kind of flaky. But it's this network aspect that gets people to change behavior. If all that happens in the great redevelopment of I-95 is that a bunch of institutions move there and they don't change their behavior, they continue with their individual institutional imperatives, and they don't get out and circulate beyond their walls and understand that they are participating in and are responsible for something larger, you will not see the kinds of gains from this area that are actually possible. So these network assets, again, very easy to overlook, but incredibly important. Physical assets that are important to think about as you're looking at what you've got in your arsenal are not just fabulous buildings, but digital mediated public spaces, living laboratories, micro and flexible housing units, public transportation, and walking paths, right? These places need to be connected with each other, and that connection is not just conceptual or through networks, but actual physical connection on the ground. Finally, once you've got your network and your vision, you use the vision that matches your assets to discover and deliver your game changer, the intervention that alters the trajectory of your economy, changes your image or identity, and remakes your community. Let's take a look at the game changers through the Innovation District's lens. If you look at economic assets that can be game changers, you can think of New York's applied sciences institutions. In Cleveland, they decided to create new spaces to repurpose the region's incomparable industrial heritage. Barcelona, for example, enticed new institutions to locate in its waterfront innovation district. These are the things that everybody's thinking about, right? What you can develop, what you can point to, what you can do and say, that's our anchor institutions. If you look at networking assets, though, those are also important, as I've been mentioning. Those include the networking breakfasts that 22 at the Innovation District in Barcelona holds, where experts and star innovators offer new insights in their fields, followed by open time to connect with other individuals. Or you have Boston's 12,000 square foot District Hall, which is an urban laboratory where innovators are encouraged to connect. And it's also got easily dividable meeting spaces and a restaurant and cafe. St. Louis, in its innovation district, has a cluster of 5 innovation centers that are specifically designed to have collision points where smart people can bump into each other and maybe come up with some new ideas. I have been amazed in metro after metro how many changes have been started by something as simple and felicitous as people getting together over coffee or by chance in a parking lot. If you increase the chances for that serendipity, you increase the chances of amazing results. And game changers in the physical assets category include things like the M1 rail line in Detroit, which is the circulatory system in the Innovation District that will support and foster more density and walkability in a way that the free movement of cars cannot. Sometimes transportation and circulation assets in innovation districts are really not just about the free flow of people. They're about moving people in a particular way that actually supports, again, density, walkability, and urbanity, that support connection and proximity.